Why should I maximize my youth? What is the big deal? After all, I have my entire life ahead of me. These are some of the questions that I hear or I come across when I speak with different youth. Hi there, my name is David A. King. If this is your first time, I am the founder and the CEO of both Crumble and Kingscourt. It's a pleasure and a privilege again to speak to you. And this is Lead Speaker Series. And today I just want to give an overview of what we'll be expecting and what we'll be dealing with in the next few days. So stay tuned, stay tight as we all engage and learn something to maximize our youth. Like I said, these are some of the questions that I've been hearing and I have been engaging with the youth throughout. I mean, I've been given the privilege to work, socialize, impact, mentor different youth from different cultures. And there is one thing that I have understood or come to know to be common to each and every youth that I meet, and that is every youth believes they have all the time on the earth. And that brings a concern because really we may not have all the times on the earth. And so when I encounter the youth and they ask and they bring those conversation, what is the big deal in maximizing my youth? After all, I have my entire life ahead of me. So I usually like to go in a way of asking them, can I ask you a question? Because I love to ask them questions so that they can think on their own and not just give them. Because once you give somebody a response, that's it. And then they are not given the opportunity to think. So I ask them, can I perhaps maybe ask you a question? And if they say yes, that's great for me. And then so I ask them, do you maybe know when you are going to die? Right there, you open up this conversation to make them start to think and ponder. And after I ask them that, then I ask them, do you actually know why you are on earth for? You see, when you look at life from that standpoint, it is impossible for a person not to develop a sense of urgency, a sense of determination, a sense of desiring to actually be selective on how to maximize the precious time that we have all been given here on earth. And so I like to go in that direction because I love to see the youth think on their own, you know. And then the other thing that I've heard is that life is too short, right? And so this is from the other perspective of other people that say life is too short. And so I ask myself, why do you say life is too short? I've never been able to really understand and wrap my mind around that phenomenon about life is too short, because I ask myself, is the life too short for a fetus who never made it to the earth, or for a baby who was born and died right after birth, or for a teenager who was 14 and died at 14, or a young adult who was 25, 35, 45, or an elderly person who had been given the privilege to hit 75 or 120. Life is too short for who exactly, you know? And so here is my take really when it comes to that question about life is too short. I believe life is life and life must be lived. And if life is lived right, once is enough. And so whether it was a fetus who never made it to the earth, that was the timing, that was the impact, that was what was designed for them to accomplish, regardless of all other circumstances that may be considered. You know, I like to always steal a scripture in their Bible that says, I think it's in the book of Acts 17:26, that from one man all the nation came, and then God predetermined, or God determined their times and their boundaries. So that is to say, each one of us, we were given a specific time on this earth. We were given a specific time and a determination, like a section that we're supposed to live. And it wasn't just because we have to live it, because there was a particular thing that we had to accomplish or to come and show on this earth. And so if we are able to identify that thing, if we are able to capture that and then seize it in that moment, and then life was lived, and life was lived right, and then once is enough. So life is not really short, depending on who is talking or from what perspective the person is really talking from. Right? And so hence the theme, maximizing one's youth. And so I'm just gonna give us like an overview of what that is and what we'll be expecting in the next few days. All right. And I hope that you'll be here for each and every session that we're going to have. It's going to be impactful because we have various people that will be coming on the platform to really equip us and teach us and show us the things that they have been able to accomplish and do in their youth that has been a virtue for them in their adulthood. So maximizing your youth really involves building a strong foundation for your future by focusing on both personal and leadership development, which is some of the pillars of both King's Court and Crumble. Being able to develop yourself both personally and in your leadership capacity, and also making intentional decision and building positive strategic relationships, which is one thing that most of the youth do not really know or do to create that positive strategic relationships. And most importantly, I think within building the foundation in preparation for your future, or to be able to maximize your youth, is discovering your identity and your purpose. This, to me, I believe these are the most important elements for one to be able to really, really maximize their future. Because, I mean, their youth, if you do not discover who you are and the purpose you have on earth, it is almost impossible for you to be able to really maximize, because nothing can be built outside identity and purpose. Nothing at all. So discovering your identity and knowing your purpose becomes the most important element of maximizing your youth. You see, it is crucial for us to remember, or to keep in remembrance, that your youth is a unique period. And within that period, you are going to have excessive amount of energy, opportunities for growth, both upwards and downwards. And so it will be wise to really leverage those opportunities and those energies to avoid future regrets. You know, this stage is where we all need to be able to identify our tags. So those are the tags is just an abbreviation for talents, abilities, giftings, and skills. This is the time that you need to identify them and then build them and maximize them for future leverages. All right, because you have this opportunity within this stage as a youth. And so within this scope of a youth as well, you would understand that there is a lot of energy and there's a lot of power that a young person is given. Now, if that power is not governed, if that power is not guided, then it's going to be abused, and then damage is going to happen, because what is not managed is going to definitely be damaged. So it's very important that we are able to really guide and govern those things for the youth. So it's a hand-in-hand collaboration between the youth and really the adult, right? So because in this segment of being a youth, it really comes with great things. You know, there's excitement, there's ambition, there is invincibility, there is adventurers. You are just, you feel like you're on top of the world. You can just name it. You know, they have a lot of ideas flowing in their mind. They have fantasies, they have dreams, they have vision. But if it's not guided properly, if it's not captured and then tailored toward the future that this particular youth needs to get to, they are going to misuse and really mishandle these opportunities. And then down the road, few years down the road, they're going to look back and begin to regret as to why they never got a chance to really hear a message such as this, to be able to really maximize their future. All right. And so I just have to say that in order to really maximize one's future, it is important for us to collaborate this period between the youth and the elders or the elderly ones. If the collaboration is not secured or done accordingly, we should be sure that abuse, chaos is absolutely inevitable. And so this is where the youth and the older people have to merge. One needs to feel that they have a need to learn, and the other needs to understand that they have the skills to help, or to at least enforce or reinforce certain ideas or teaching or techniques for them to be able to help the youth really understand the importance of maximizing their youth. You see, whatever you invest now, it's just you preparing, shaping your future. So whatever it is, bad or good, these are investments you're making. And every investment has a result. If you invest good, definitely you are going to reap something great. It's a law, right? If you invest bad, then you are going to be reaping something that you invested. You can't invest something and hope to harvest what you did not invest. So for most people in their adult years, they are just reaping what they had invested in their youth. So if you are still a young person, I think it's the best time that you were able to stumble upon this video and really hear the importance of you being able to maximize your future. Whether that investment is you are investing mentally, you are investing emotionally, you are investing spiritually, intellectually, personal, social, economical, just to name a few, you need to understand that you are making an investment for your future. And you are shaping your future. You have an idea of how you want your future to look like. And so you begin to invest even as early as 14, I would say. There's really no age. As soon as you have the understanding that you've got a future and you want to be impactful, and then you begin to invest. And then you begin to invest in areas that you know that are important, that they're going to be beneficial for you in the near future. That process between your youth and your future, I define it as building capacity. Now, above I said identity and purpose is the most important tool to be able to maximize your future. But then within the identity and purpose, you have now the process, the segment of building capacity. If you do not find that opportunity to build capacity, even if you know your identity and your future, you won't be able to really do anything about it. Because yes, of course, you have the raw material, which is your identity. You know who you are, and then you have the purpose. You know what you've got to do. But if you miss the segment or the process of building capacity, then identity and purpose become just a tool that cannot be utilized to maximize your youth. So building capacity then becomes the most valuable tool in one's maximizing their future. And so in building capacity, it is important to keep in remembrance, because this is where most people or most youth go wrong, because you could feel that you are building capacity, but like that capacity must work according to your end goal. I can be building capacity in an area that is not beneficial to me. Yes, of course, I am gaining the skills, I am getting the knowledge, I am actually building the capacity, but if it's not in accordance with where I'm trying to go, that capacity I'm building, it becomes, should I say, not so important. And so not every knowledge is beneficial. Knowledge is good, but when you realize that this is where I'm going, you become selective. You become selective to select what information you need to acquire for you to be able to utilize in order to guide you or direct you towards where you're trying to go. Because if you miss that, you are going to just bring in all these informations, fill your brain, and then you can't really utilize those information to be able to get where you're going. Then you have just made a something that is not important, like you have invested in a thing that is not beneficial to you, right? And so not all knowledge is beneficial. and not all paths may lead to a favorable future. You could be going in the direction that you feel is right, but it may not lead you to a favorable future. So it's very important to be selective, to be intentional, to be focused. First, to be able to identify your identity, and then discover your purpose. Those two things are going to be your compass to now determine what kind of capacity do you need to build to be able to maximize your youth. Maximizing your youth is just a matter of you really maximizing who you are and what you are about. That is your identity and your purpose. And so once you know that, it becomes your compass, and then now you build capacity. All right. In one of the topics that I will be dealing with, it's identity and purpose. Like, that's my favorite topic, and I think in the next few weeks I'm gonna be working on that, and we'll learn that you don't start to live until when you discover your identity and purpose. Before that, you are just existing, because you are really not doing anything on earth without knowing who you are, whose you are, and what you're about to do, or what you are all about. So life begins when you discover who you are, your identity and your purpose. All right. And so in the next few days, few months, lead speaker series, we'll be focusing on various aspects on how to really maximize this stage as the youth, or with the youth. And I have a list of speakers coming from all types of work, from real estates, relationships, entrepreneurs, religious leaders will be with us, business owners, mayors, life coach, professors, ex-convicts, PMs. I have reached out to quite a few people, and they're excited. Lawyers, these are people that were once youth. These are people that invested in their youth, and now they are reaping the benefits. They are going to be sharing with you the mistakes they made, the things they invested in, how they were able to quickly rearrange their lives in the time of their youth to be able to have the life that they have. The future is not guaranteed if you're not investing. It won't drop from heaven or handed to you just because you are pretty or just because you have some muscles. You've got to put work in. And so I am very passionate about youth, because it's a very crucial moment that people have to seize and just maximize it. So with the lead series, our aim is to have an holistic approach with practical tools that will not only challenge you, scare you, or boost you up. However, it's a way to solidify and guarantee that if you follow these tools and if you follow these steps or these precepts, the future is definitely attainable and obtainable. You can't miss it as long as you are alive. All right. So I want to see you in the next few conversations that we'll be having in the next few days and in the coming year. It's going to be very impactful. I can tell you that I've had the privilege to speak with some of the speakers, and I myself were challenged. I myself were boosted to look back into my life and see where I would have done better, I would have improved. So if I was able to do that, I don't want you to have the same turn around and have the regrets. I want you to turn back and say, I'm glad I was able to stumble upon this video and learn from other people, so I don't have to go through the same potholes that they went. You are able to see a pothole and skip it. Why should you go through the same pothole that I have informed you about just because you want to feel how it looks like or how it feels? That's not smart. And so I want to see you in the next few episodes. This was just an introduction, just for us to know what we'll be expecting in the next lead series as we come in the next few months and next few days and in the coming year. I'm always here. You can reach out to me at any time at any of my social media platform. David_A King, always available. Connect, let's talk. Let's see how we can work this and really maximize our youth. I love you, and I'll see you soon. Enjoy your day. Bye now.